Weaver John C. from Rosamond, California. It is March 14th, 2021, Sunday. It's practically 9:30 in the morning. I had sent a letter over to KBC television station out here in the Southern California region. I'm getting a little pissed off at the news organizations ignoring the Antelope Valley, not to mention the northern areas of Antelope Valley. Every time they keep talking about COVID-19 restrictions and they're talking about the possible recovery of what's going on, we get ignored out here. We don't know what the hell's going on. We have to be entertained by Kern County media if they're actually able to cover us out here. We have a large Air Force base out here that has families and personnel that live out here in Rosamond, California. The rest of them are commuting from other places, or they live on base. But for the most part, we get a lot of business from Edwards. And we also get passer-throughs. We have over 30,000 people in Rosamond, California. Not to mention maybe about 20,000 estimated out in Mojave Desert. Less. And not to mention there'd be about almost the same out in Cal City. Now these areas are the extreme areas of Kern County, but I don't see, and I haven't heard of any of the local Kern news stations out there that cover the Kern County ever cover our desert regions as much. Except for the fact we still got 2 toddlers missing in Cal City for over 3 months, and nobody's found the kids yet. We've had a local AV news crew going up there daily trying to find out what's going on with the story. But out here in the Southland, out here in so-called Southland that I grew up with, I grew up in, crickets. Kids are missing 3 months already. Nobody cares. Nobody's taking any interest about these kids. Actually, since December, I think. There's been no news reports coming from the local big boys out here. Not KTLA, not KABC 7, not CBS, KTLA. Where the hell's the Los Angeles Times? Nowhere. Crickets. NBC4, even crickets. Nobody cares, but they'll say anything concerning about San Fernando Valley, what happens in the San Gabriel Valley, maybe something happening in San Bernardino area if they got enough reporters, Anaheim, Ventura, but anything happening out here in the Antelope Valley, crickets. We have Spectrum News, big whoop. Crickets. And what pisses me off also, since we had the COVID-19 kicking in the high gear since last year, nobody was covering our area either, except for the local news ladies. The local news people we've got out here, which is the AV news crew, have been covering everything left and right, not to mention the AV press. But where was everybody else? Crickets. So I sent over a tweet to the general manager and also a bit of a request over to the vice president of news operations for the Walt Disney Corporation for at least handling one of the major news stations out there. Because we need to have the coverage out here necessary. We don't know what the hell is going on with the COVID. We don't know if we're in the tier or not. Nobody's giving us information out here. Not even out here in Rosamond. Unless, of course, you try to follow what's happening in Bakersfield. But Bakersfield don't even care about Rosamond over Mojave in the first place. We're already having our own financial issues for over the past several years already. More than that. More scandals going on over here, and nobody cares to bother to cover the damn thing because it's just not major newsworthy. Yet we got kids missing out in California City, and there's still crickets. Bakersfield finally gets involved in the situation over here. Bakersfield, which is the county seat, well, for Kern County anyway, they finally get involved. After 3 or 4 months of the damn thing, the kids already disappeared. And there's still investigations going on, still haven't found them. And if we're having any COVID-19 situations happening, nobody's talking about it. It's all hush-hush. So if there's going to be any openings of restaurants or businesses out there even further, we're the last to know. We hear LA County's doing it, but we can't even get the information out of our own damn county of Kern. Hell, we can't even get the information out of our own damn U.S. representative. We lost a baseball team out here in the Antelope Valley that covered the area. That covered from Mojave all the way through Pearl Blossom. Lancaster Jethawks is one of our minor league baseballs. I didn't see one damn public opinion or one damn press event covering the Lancaster Jethawks in over 2 years since they were fighting it out with the Major League Baseball commissioners at the time, trying to stay alive. They lost their lease. They're out of work. Now they're funneled back into our community. Gone. Forgotten. It's only a matter of time before the Jethawks stadium, the hangar, gets to be mowed under. Because there was enough public outrage and not enough public interest, unfortunately, to keep our minor league baseball team alive. Except for some of the vultures that keep ordering stuff online. Unfortunately, I had to be one of those damn vultures because I wanted to keep a piece of Jethawk history before they went under. I'm a transplant from the San Fernando Valley. I lived in Southern California, what they called Southern California, in the Los Angeles County area, in the city of Los Angeles for most of my, actually all my life. Born in Downey and about 2 years old, emigrated over to San Fernando Valley, and my family and I lived there until 2005. Rents got too damn high. We couldn't get to any rooms that we could afford for 3 families. Actually, for one family, which had 3 members, me and my brother and my mother, and 3 dogs. Nowhere. We moved over to Antelope Valley. And it bounced around from place to place ever since. My family has died over the past 10 years, which left me all alone out here in the Roseman area. This is stating a fact. This is not sympathy, it's stating a fact. And the thing of it is, I called LA my home. So now LA is no longer home. LA no longer treats its own home. I stuck with the Valley for nearly 38 years. I lived there all my life. I went to school there. Worked all my life in the Valley. The Valley was my home. Saw a lot of changes I didn't like. But you rolled with the punches. When I came back to visit the Valley a few years later, I couldn't recognize it anymore. That feeling of home was never there anymore. And I also noticed that nobody else cared about it into Antelope Valley. We had our own fair chases happening over here. Our deaths, our murders, suicide rates, murders of cops. One particular park out in the city of Lancaster, Sergeant Steve Owens got dedicated. He got gunned down by a creep. They were trying to find this creep by Antelope Valley College, my college that I go to. I had to put the place on lockdown while they find this creep, and this creep managed to murder the cop, a community member. Nobody covered enough about that one, now did they? Nobody covers the Antelope Valley as much. I'm a bit pissed off about it. If we happen to get any dire chases going through the valley coming from different portions of Los Angeles, they may cover it. If we happen to get any thunderstorms, they may cover that. Only because it may be newsworthy, because we have some viewers out there. Well, shit, we got viewers over here in Mojave. We also have viewers out in Roseman. We got over 30,000 people out here. Nobody gives a shit about us. That kind of pisses me off, you know. So, this is my bitch. This is my beef. This is my letter to all those news organizations out there. If I have to keep sending Twitter on Twitter and Facebook all these damn links concerning about this video, come on, guys. We're not all that boring out here, are we? We get thunderstorms, that's the only thing you cover us by. If we have a tier change concerning about the COVID recovery or any possible outbreaks, are we that dense? It's not fair, it's not right. So I'm sending it over to every general manager I can possibly find, and every vice president of news operations, of every major corporation that owns your ass. I'd like for the Antelope Valley to have a little bit more coverage than what I've been seeing these days. Especially if we're going to be recovering, we like to find out which particular restaurants we're going to be actually able to eat at. And screw the word of mouth, we need to hear from everybody. We have people living in here in Edwards Air Force Base also who actually work over the base, live out here in Palmdale and Lancaster. Did you guys realize that Plant 42 is part of Edwards Air Force Base? Amazing, isn't it? This is an aerospace country over here. It's been out here a lot longer than I've been alive. Nobody cares about us. And I'm saying it right now because I feel like I'm more part of this particular desert community than I was with my own damn San Fernando Valley. And I loved that place. But I'm not quite sure if I love it anymore. So please, guys, we got news out here. All you got to do is have your news hounds find out what the hell's going on. Are we going to be affected out here in portions of Kern? Roseman, California, primarily, is sitting on the border between Kern and Los Angeles. We're on the outskirts that Kern barely cares about because we've only got one fire station and one sheriff's department for 30,000 people. Google it. Look it on the Google Maps. About 11 miles away, we can get a fire station from LA County if we need to. We'll try to drag it out about another 11 miles also from Edwards Air Force Base. Because as I said before, we still have base personnel living out here. But that shouldn't be enough. We're 11 miles away from any other kind of hospital. Except for Lancaster. Antelope Valley Hospital. The only trauma center we have out here. And Palmdale gets one. But since we're not big enough, nobody cares about us out here. Even if we happen to get any murders out here, which we get them, we get traffic accidents happening all the damn time. We get people in car accidents and dying over here. Nobody covers that. We'll barely hear about it about a week later, except on social media. This isn't right, guys. This isn't right. We're still part of Southern California. We're still part of the California culture. We need to be covered more and more. What's with you guys? Get on with it.